Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. If you are new here in this channel, we talk about future. We talk about future from the perspective of after divorce, after separation. Now, you may ask why I talk about this stuff. About 2.5 years ago, I lost my corporate job of 21 years and my marriage in the same month, November of 2023. Since then, it was a very difficult journey for a while, and after that, I rebuilt my life. And from there, I try to help other people through these videos. We also have a meetup community, and also I write books. So every Wednesday, we dive deep on a topic that really relates with people who are walking this journey, especially after divorce and separation. The path can feel very lonely, and a lot of people judge, believe it or not, even your close friends and family who has not gone through that process, and hopefully they never go through, because divorce is a very difficult thing to go through. Because when you lose the person, doesn't matter how long you have been with them, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years. I have met many different people. In my case, I was with my ex for 14 years, 2 years of dating and 12 years of marriage. So it was a long process. So long process, long time together, I mean. So it was not easy, because it's almost like losing the person is almost like death, but it's not quite death, because it's different. Because you grow apart so much that the person you loved and you wanted to spend the rest of your life with, right? When you get married, that's the thought you have, that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. But it comes to a situation that you grow apart so much that you break that vow, right? So it's not easy. But anyway, that's why I have these videos for folks. And and the interesting part is because people are in different phases of the journey, because sometimes when the initial separation starts, from there to actual divorce, depending on which state you are in. Here in Virginia, I think you have to, not I think, I know, because I went through that myself. If you have kids, 1 year of complete separation on paper before you can get divorced. So sometimes what ends up happening is people don't actually get divorced in a year, even if things are like, from both sides they want to. It takes a long time, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I have heard stories, all different situations. So the point is, today we are going to talk about a thing called container of pain. So I just came up with it to give some flavor and perspective, because I hear from different people different things, and I want to make it a little bit easier for, because we all go through this pain, but how do you go through the pain in a way that propels you, right? Because that's the whole thing. Now, divorce will create a lot of pain, but in an everyday situation also, you may come across a little pain, right? So let's say at work you have this great idea. I know this because I was in a corporate for 21 years, and then you have this great idea, but what ends up happening is your idea doesn't get picked, someone else's does, and then you're like, okay, I knew this was better, this would have saved money for the company, but still it didn't get picked. But the point is, and I'm going to show you when I say container of pain. Somebody may have a container this big, and somebody may have a container of this big. And the reason I say that, it is important not to compare our container of pain, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, so I'll take the example of Wayne Dyer. So a lot of people from self-help world to spiritual fields to TED Talk, you name it, I have been studying them for, like, I don't know how long. I would say over a decade, but I go deep. So anyway, so Wayne Dyer, he has written many books, right? He has written many books. He has lots of videos on YouTube and in other places. He used to talk on PBS. He died, I think, about 10 years ago. So where I am going with that is, Wayne Dyer grew up in a foster home, right? And he became one of the biggest, like, known person in this field, like spiritual and self-help. Like he connected in a way that I don't think many people could do that successfully. So for him, the container of pain, if I say, is like this big, versus somebody who grew up in a house where they had, they had food, their birthdays were celebrated, and all of that. Their container of pain may be much smaller. It won't be as big as like Wayne Dyer. Of course, these are extreme examples, but I pull this extreme example on purpose because a lot of times what ends up happening is subconsciously, because our mind is like that, and there is nothing wrong with it. We just acknowledge it and then move on, right? So comparing the container of pain is not a good thing, because all of our life experiences shape that container of pain, right? So your container of pain may be very different than mine, also because all the life experiences that we have. So what we need to focus on as we grow, as we reinvent our life and create a better future, that how did I do in my prior experiences, not necessarily marriage, not necessarily a job, but when you are growing up in your elementary school, or what was your house situation? And for some people, they may had situation where their parents got divorced when they were a kid. For me, when I was 6 years old, my dad passed away suddenly. He had a stroke, and 17 days he was in the hospital. He passed away. So that was a very big trauma that I didn't even realize until my late 30s. And I'm in my 40s now. So, so you understand that for a long time it didn't click. So, anyway, the point is that our container of pain is so different for different people, that sometimes when we knowingly or unknowingly compare it, it just creates more pain, right? It just creates more pain. So what we got to do is just think about how we can learn from those pains. So it's not that you will be looking for the pain. Like for me now, any kind of pain that comes along, I have trained my mind in such a way that I use pain as a propeller. I even say it to my friends. They probably think I'm crazy, which I am. But the point is that I'm not looking for pain, but I don't get scared of it. I don't get scared of it, because everything in life is an experience that we can learn from. The good things are there for us to cherish, and the challenging ones are there to teach us something, right? When we dig deep, then we know how or what good is in that pain. Because I remember a few years ago, a friend of mine, which I still remember, and I have a hard time finding a lesson from that. She was in early 40s, and she had 4 kids, and she died of cancer. So if you think of it, you think like, what good is there to learn from that, right? But she is one of the most kindest people I ever met in my entire life. And I have met many people, because half of my life I lived in India, half I lived here. I worked at many different places. I don't know how many thousands of people I met in my entire life, but she was one of the most, kind person I ever met. And as she was going through this journey, she was focusing on the positives, and I can't tell you, it was an experience that, I mean, I think I'll always remember. And so many people who knew her, who didn't know her, everybody was praying for her. And I saw her only like 3-4 times. She lived in a very far away, in a different state, and she has left a mark in my mind. And I wondered that she probably inspired so many people, and that is the good. And I'm still talking about her, and this was like 3-4 years ago, right? And hopefully this will inspire somebody who's watching this. So that's how sometimes it's like, the ripple effects continues, and makes the world a little bit better, right, than it was before. We cannot solve all the problem, all the suffering in the world, but we can make it a little bit better for the people around us, right? So with that, I'm going to finish this video, and please give me a thumbs up if you like it, because then it helps YouTube to show these videos, and share it with others, others who are going through this journey. So this may give them some hope. Take care. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.